So Amal, you can join.
Hello?
Yes, you can join the session.
Um, Wait, there is another link to join in. 1 minute, let me check.
Come again?
Is there another link to join the session?
No, it's you and two parts.
Hello, can you repeat?
Just, just a
Hello?
minute. Just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
I think maybe my window was one of this section was running actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start your video right now. Yes. So we have Amal here, and Amal is actually, I think, joined Ahmedabad. She has converted every top issue, I think. A, B, C, L, I, K. I think Amal can tell better. What are the institutes you have actually converted?
I have converted A, B, L, K, I. I'm in a wait list in Calcutta. Other than that, I've converted all the Blackie
I think
calls and cap calls.
obviously the choice would be A only.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you'll be joining what coming Saturday. I think it's a session.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, now, Amal, this we have more than what? How many people right now? More than 600 people are there right now. So, what exactly these people, the total people, the students who are in the session, are the people who would be going for CAT 2025? Okay,
Yes.
so they would be. It would be a quite learning opportunity for them if you can tell about the preparation of yours, even the interview experience you had with topmost like ABCL. What are the experience you have? So you can start right now. The stage is all yours, and I'll be switching off my audio and video, but I would be
Yeah,
there
sure.
to help. Okay,
Okay,
you
okay.
can
Thank you.
start. You can start right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So, a little background about me. My name is Amal Shams, and I attempted CAT 2024, and I converted calls from Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Lucknow, Kozhikode, and Indore, and other CAP calls also. So, first of all the best for your preparation starting from now. So, I basically don't know, like, if you guys have already started, how long have you been preparing? So, can you just write down in the chat, like, for how long have you been preparing for the exams?
Amal, this session
Hello?
YouTube live.
Sorry?
In this Zoom session, it is you and
Oh,
me only.
oh, okay. No
It's
issues, no
in
issues.
YouTube live. It is running. So
Oh,
there are around
okay,
700, more than 700 people right now. Have all 721 people are there. So I think you
okay,
can't.
okay.
What exactly you have to do is I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and you
Yeah,
just
sure.
start the extempo. And I think you are not looking at the YouTube chat right now. So I would be taking up the question and then I would be telling you. Okay, so you can start
Yeah,
considering
sure.
people have might have started in January, someone would be starting in April, May, June, July. So people would be there like that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So guys, so if you have like started preparing a year ago, then I think you have had your sufficient time for preparing each of the sections right from the basics, right? So from the foundation. So if you started a long time ago, I would tell you to have your foundations really strong to understand each concept and do well in those. But now, right now it's June, it's going to be June. So now it's just 6 months towards the exam. So right now you have to focus on understanding and completing the syllabus as fast as possible and understanding your strength and weakness and start giving your marks. So that is what is most important right now. So as you all know, the CATS is divided into three sessions, the QA, VRC, and LRDA. So each of the sections is actually testing different sections of your aptitude. But the most important thing is CAT is actually a time-based exam, and it depends upon how you strategize for writing that exam. Like your mindset is also plays a very important role in writing this exam. So what I would like to say is right now, just first of all, start giving one mock and understand what is your strength and what is your weakness. And depending upon your strength and weakness, customize your preparation for that. For example, when I was when I was preparing for CAT, I understood that I was very weak in my QA section. So I would devoted more time for my QA preparation than for my LRDI or BRC. So like that, for you, first understand what is your strength and weakness. Start preparing likewise. 1 minute, I will just press it.
Yes, you can continue the interview preparation and with
Hello,
what you are doing about
is
it.
my screen visible?
It is visible, yes.
Okay, 1 minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So guys, as I said, mentioned before, like CAT is into three sections. So if you're looking at VRC, first of all, VRC is actually having 24 questions, but CAT is very unpredictable. So even next year you may have less number of questions or more number of questions. That doesn't matter. But the most important thing in VRC preparation would be understanding how to read those passages. You have to, for that, to improve your VRC, you have to read a diverse topics, a range of topics, starting from psychology, science, and so much technology. Like the topics that will be coming for your CAT exam is really unpredictable, but it is from a vast area of topics. So the most important thing in VRC is to understand. RC is almost 16, and the jumble up sentences and the grammar part is only just 8 marks. So the most important thing is for you to understand the passages that you read, and for that you actually need a lot of reading experience. But right now, if you're starting your preparation in this June, then it's better to give more and more RCs rather than diversifying your reading into newspapers and other books and everything. Because right now you're running short of time. So I would recommend you to start giving as many RCs as possible and to attempt those questions. So once you start attempting a lot of questions, you'll see a pattern. Like most importantly, you'll be able to identify what are your strong suits of understanding or the topics that you're comfortable in and the topics that you really find difficult understanding. So based on that, then you have to customize and read more and more about the topics that you're finding it difficult. And it's a paragraph wise RCs that you will be receiving. So keep on reading those RCs and try to understand. The one good thing about RCs is that you don't need to understand every single word, but you have to understand the gist of the paragraphs, like understand what is actually encapsulated in those lines. Like a short summary of each paragraph is what will help you answer those RC questions. So the first thing is to understand the RCs that you're reading. And then, like I mentioned, give your mooks to understand your accuracy. Because if VRC is a strong suit of yours, then I would recommend you to answer all 24 questions, because your accuracy might be somewhere around 70 or 80%, and you may not be actually able to identify what is the correct answers or the wrong answers you will be giving. So in that case, I would tell you to give up all 24 questions, answer all those questions, because you are anyway having a 70 to 80% of accuracy. So if it is a good day, then you will be getting a really great mark. So anyway, you will be getting a 98 plus percentile in VRC if it is a strong suit of yours. But if it's a weak section of yours, I would recommend you to choose your questions properly, because you have a very short time. So understand, just first of all, skim through the RCs and understand which of those you're comfortable with to understand, and attempt those RCs first. And if you have more time, go to the VRC VA section and find the questions that are easy for you. Then, if you have time left, then only come back to those questions. In this case, you need to develop an accuracy that is very high, so that even though your attempt rate is low, you'll be getting a good mark depending upon your accuracy rates. So, if you're weak in VRC, then focus on understanding, taking your time to understand the RCs and attempting them. That will be my suggestion for VRC. After that, if you're coming to LRDI section, LRDI is two parts actually, logical reasoning and data interpretation. Mostly you'll be having 2 to 3 sets from LR and 1 or 2 sets from DI. To understand DI, you need a bit of maths for understanding DI. So for that, you have to go through charts, like the basics of graphic representations, like different types of charts, like pie charts, tables, and stuff. And for LR, it is mostly puzzle types. So if you have, like, if you started your preparation before, I would have suggested you to keep playing Sudoku and other puzzle type games and different logic. So so LRD is actually very unpredictable because every time there's a different logic that is coming. Well, you have a umbrella kind of topics like arrangements and other charts, bar graphs and stuff. But other than that, LR is actually very unpredictable. You may have topics from different topics and different subjects. So it's about finding like having that aptitude to understand what kind of logic to apply in everything. So, for that, you need a lot of practice. So, I would recommend you to practice different kinds of sets from different resources. Like, do not stick on to one resource because it might be focused on one or the other topic, but diversify your resources and try attempting all kinds of logic puzzles and DI also, so that you are actually acquainted with all the different types of logic, so that your logic is also improving. So even if you get a new logic question, you will have the experience and the practice of practicing almost 400 to 500 sets already. That will help you. So before your exam, make sure that you have covered the basics of each LR topic and then start attempting up to minimum 400 to 500 sets so that you get well versed with what kinds of logic and different ideas. It is to acquaint yourself with the logic and the ideas because, like I mentioned, for the LRDI, when the exam paper comes, it will be a completely new logic. But if you have practiced that much, you will be having an idea or how to proceed or different methods like that. And that is what is important in LRDA. Now coming to quant is the actually only section where you will be having to remember equations and formulas. So that is one important thing about quants. When you're preparing for quants, try to maintain a formula book where you have the different types of questions from each topics and the formulas or equations that are most important in these topics, and revise these formulas as much as possible, because once you start moving from arithmetic to algebra, sometimes you'll be forgetting the equations in arithmetic, or you may even get confused. So it is important to keep refreshing those in a daily basis or a weekly format. If you just revise all your formulas before the mocks, that would also be very helpful. And for quants, you have to practice and practice and practice. That is the most important thing, because for quants, even actually CAT, like I mentioned, is not a speed-based exam, but more of a strategy-based exam. So on the 40 minutes that you have for quant, decide on which questions. It maybe sometimes you'll be well versed within a topic, but question that comes for the exam might be difficult. So I would recommend you to understand the questions and give a level of difficulty for it. If it's an easy question on the go, just give up, just write your answers and move on. If it's a difficult question, keep it for later, even though if it is a topic that you're well versed in. Sometimes the topics that you're not so comfortable in might give you easy questions. So go searching for that. Keep an open mind on your quant papers and practice a lot. Now, okay, when you start, now you just have 6 months of your preparation. So I would say like you have to have a plan or a timetable that you need to follow, because now you have very short time, a very compact schedule that you have to keep practicing your mocks, and you have your daily targets and the syllabus that you have to complete. So first, primarily focus on completing your syllabus as much as fast, as soon as possible, especially quants, because RC, like I mentioned, is about reading and improving it, and LR is about trying out the various logic. So once you cover the basics of LR, that can be done in 1 or 2 days and just start practicing for it. But for quants, since there are many chapters, you'll have to cover each topic properly once, or else you won't be able to attempt the CAT questions. So for that, you actually need to finish prepare a strategy for yourself. And like for the first 2 months now, it's June. By September, you have to find a plan so that you will be able to complete all your syllabus at least once. And then uh, you have to keep giving your mocks even now, but by September, once your portion is over, then your mocks will be more effective because you'll understand more and more better how or what is your weaknesses and what are your strengths. Till September, don't mind getting low marks in your mocks, but keep on giving your mocks to understand your strategies. Like, were you able to complete all the RCs and VA questions in those 40 minutes? Or were you able to identify what were the ECLR questions? Like that, for to understand that and to keep improving, write or give your mocks all through this time. But from by September, your main focus must be to complete your portions. And for quants, another important thing is that you might be knowing a long method of understanding or giving finding an answer. But since CAT is also a time-based exam, you might have to find easier methods of finding that. And for that, you have to understand for each question once you solve it, your own method. Try to understand what other methods could be used to solve that question more easily. So for that, you keep, like I mentioned before, you need to maintain a formula book where you'll be having all your formulas. Based on that, you just write down what was the easiest method that you found out to solve a particular question. What was easier, so that when you revise, you'll be able to have it. And like I mentioned, keep taking your mocks as much as possible. And if you could maintain an Excel sheet where you could like note down your mock performance, that will also be very helpful. Like, what were your weakness, what is the mistake that you made, so that the next time you give a mock, you understand like these were the previous mistakes that I made and I won't be making this the next time. So that is what is most important. And for time management techniques, like I mentioned, for time management, it depends. It so much depends upon you, because if you're really good at quants, you'll be able to answer 15 or 18 questions, and that will fetch you a very good percentile. But if you're a bit weak in maths, try to understand that even answering 8 questions or 10 questions will fetch you a good percentile in quants. And you could cop up with the lowest percentile in quants by performing well in the other sections. So don't be in a haste to answer all questions and get them wrong. If you're weak in quants, try to focus on each question and take your time. Like, you have 40 minutes. So even if you give 4 minutes for each question, you'll be able to answer 10 questions. But ensure that your accuracy is good. If you're fast in quants and if you're really good at quants, keep answering your questions as much as, so that you will be able to play to your strengths. Then, whenever you are attempting any mock or even the actual CAT exam, just keep in your mind that this exam is a very subjective exam. It depends upon the people who are writing this exam. So, if you are finding the exam difficult, chances are that many others will also be finding this exam difficult, and that will affect the percentile. If you finding it an easy paper, then you have to increase your attempts. If you are finding it a difficult paper, you have to be more focused on your accuracy rather than your attempts, so that you have to play up to your strengths and understand how the paper is. That is one important thing when you're writing any mock or the CAT exam in actual also. Now, selecting study materials, that is also one important part of how you deal with CAT. Because, like I mentioned, first of all, try to understand your strength and weaknesses. And depending upon that, you need to select the study materials that you'll be using. Because, for example, whenever you start preparing, there will be difficult level of questions and easy level of questions. If you're good in a topic, you don't need to waste your time by preparing all the easy questions more and more, because just you want to complete your material. If you're finding it comfortable, move on to the next level and move on to the higher level, so that you understand what is difficult for you and keep practicing what you are not able to answer properly. So the most important thing is selecting the right study materials, because it's a subjective exam. What you find easier to understand might not be something that others might be able to understand. So there's a lot of understanding yourself in attempting or having a good attempt in CAT. For that, you need to understand how exactly or what exactly you need to prepare. So work on that, like your materials. If you're preparing a lot of easy material and the paper is tough, it will be very bad for you. So try to analyze what kind of material are you using, and is it actually adding to your knowledge, or actually it's just keeping it's just keeping up your pace or something. So just try to understand what you're studying. And like I mentioned, the importance of mocks. As I mentioned earlier, try to maintain an Excel sheet of your mocks and understanding like what topics for VRC, what I would recommend is that which topics you are reading the RCs, try to identify what topic is it and where you're comfortable with it. So that if you're not comfortable with it, after one mock is over and by the time you attend the next mock, try to attend more and more RCs about that topic so that you're getting more comfortable if you were difficult with it. And if you were comfortable with it, and in the actual CAT, there's an RC regarding the topic that you're comfortable with, go straight to that RC and attempt it first so that you get your easy questions done at the beginning. For LRDI, the just use first 2 to 3 minutes to understand what are the easy LRDIs that you will be able to do. And no problem if you thought that LR was easy, but as you were doing it, you find it difficult, just stop it there. There should be a time limit that you assign for yourself because it's a 40-minute exam, and by doing 2 to 3 sets or two and a half sets, you will be getting a 99 plus. If it is a average moderate level paper, if it's an easy paper, you'll need to attempt more questions. So if it is an easy paper, then your LR sets will also be easy. So you have to up your pace. So what I would recommend is for LRDI, try to understand how much time you are taking for a set and keep on monitoring the time you take for each kind of sets of each different topic. And wherever you're taking long time, just try to practice those sets more and more so you increase your speed. And also, if you're getting stuck in any question, if you have utilized, say, 5 to 7 minutes in a set, but you're not reaching anywhere, just pause it there and move to another set that you found it easy in the mock and start attempting it so that one set at least of yours is done. When you're doing a paper, your first focus must be to complete one set. Once your first set is over, then move on to finding another set. It would be easier for you like that. And for cons, like I mentioned, there are almost 22 questions and you need to attempt 14 to 15 questions to get a really great mark, like a 99.5 or plus. But with 9 to 10 questions also, you will be getting a 98, 99 percentile. So you focus on what you based on if QA is your strength or your weakness, try to optimize your attempts and try to understand the easy questions. As you give on more and more mocks, you'll be able to identify what is easy for you and what questions are easy and what questions are difficult. So give on more and more mocks and try to reduce the time you consume for each question. That would be the most helpful for quants. Now, reviewing and analyzing performance, like I mentioned earlier, the main objective for giving mocks is to analyze them and to understand your weaknesses and strengths. So, whenever you finish a mock, once the mock is just over, the results might come then only, or maybe the next day, whenever you're writing a mock, depending upon where you're writing the mocks from. So, just as you finish your mock, write down what you felt about the exam, like what you felt was what is that you could have done better, or like what was that you found difficult, like that. And always CAT exam, since it's a time-based exam, you'll be making a lot of careless mistakes. And even in the actual exam, there is a high possibility that you'll be making careless mistakes. So don't let that hinder your progress. It's just a part of the process. Just trust the process and move on. Keep practicing and practicing. Like I mentioned, maintain an Excel sheet where you are able to analyze each mock of yours and keep track of your performance. Even if a mock is bad for you, let that not disappoint you a lot, because the mocks actually depend a lot about how much you have prepared that day or what kind of a mindset where you're writing the exam also. So some days, even if you have prepared a lot, you will be getting a very bad mock score. But that's not at all indicative about the actual exam you will be writing. So let just trust the process and keep on writing your mocks and understanding your weaknesses and strengths. Other than that, don't pay much attention to getting a lower percentile or a very high percentile. If you get a high percentile, also stay humble. And even if you get a low percentile, also just trust, believe in yourself, and move forward. So, like I mentioned, in quantitative aptitude, the most important topics are arithmetic and algebra. So, geometry actually is a might be an easy topic for some, but may not be for others. If you're finding it really difficult to comprehend geometry, I would recommend you to keep it to the end or just understand the basics so that if an easy question from geometry comes, you'll be able to attend it. But if you're really finding geometry difficult, don't spend a lot of time on it because most of the questions mostly comes from arithmetic and algebra. So focus your energy on understanding your strengths and like learning your strengths most well. Like if you're good at time, speed, ratios, and other things, just practice them really good, but also don't leave out your weaknesses. Spend equal time on your weaknesses so that you can develop them. I think for most people, the most difficult parts in quants will be geometry and permutations and combinations. But some people might really find geometry easy. For those people, just keep practicing geometry and revise all your formulas because there are a lot of formulas in geometry. For permutations and combinations, it's a very confusing topic. But if you learn the basics, you'll be able to answer easy questions. And for hard level questions, it might consume a lot of time in your actual exam also. So don't bother if you're not able to complete that permutations and combinations difficult topics. Then, like I mentioned in DI, different types of be acquainted with a lot of different types of charts. Like there might be line graphs, pie charts, bar graphs, and then cumulative bar graphs, and so much more. So just try to have an idea about all the types of graphs. That is the main thing. And your percentages, like when you're learning ratios, you might be learning all your percentages, like 1 by 7, 1 by 4, which is equal to 25%, like that. Just have it really thorough because that will be really useful in your quants and data interpretation also. For Ella, like I told, if you like played a lot of logic games in your childhood or even now, then Ella might be a bit easier for you. But for Ella, there will be a lot of clues and points given. So it is important that you understand each point correctly because even if you understand one point wrong, your whole set might get wrong. And getting a whole set wrong will be like 4 or 5 questions wrong, which will be like if you got those 4 or 5 questions, you'll be getting 15 marks. But if you're getting them wrong, you are getting -5. So it's very important that you take your time and understand what is written on each logical reasoning question. So pay attention to what you're reading and attempt each question carefully. Then for VRC, what I would say is regular reading. If you had actually prepared or had a really good reading habit from before, then keep reading your editorials or the books that you keep reading. But if you're just new into this reading habit and you're trying to read a lot, then you might find it very draining. So I would recommend you to give more and more RCs other than diversifying your reading right now because just you have only 6 months. So at this time, if you haven't read much in the past, just focus on practicing and reading more and more RCs of different kinds rather than reading many things because most of the times you might be understanding the RC, but the questions might be difficult for you. Or you might be finding it difficult to, or you're confusing between the options. For that, you actually need to give a lot of RC questions as mocks or whatever. Just keep practicing your RCs if you just started your VRC preparation right now. Then for the final revision tips, like I mentioned, have your formula book handy with you with all your quant equations and prioritize. And by the time you reach an October, November, which is just 1 month away from your actual exams, then by that time you'll be having a good idea about what is your strength and what is your weakness. At that time, focus more on your strengths because like you might have been practicing a lot on your weaknesses till then. So make sure that as you practice your weaknesses, your strengths do not lose touch of you. So just keep practicing your weaknesses, and while also like try to increase the time you allot for your strengths as the exam is coming sooner and sooner. So that and keep revising all your equations and try to give as many mocks as possible in October and November because that is the time that you have actually finished your syllabus and you will be moving out. And also have your basics really like your fundamental concepts of each subject or topic very solid foundation will help you answering your QA questions very faster also. Then post cat, once your cat is over, I think maybe 1 or 2 months, like if your cat is over in November, mostly by December your results will be coming. So at that time you won't be having much going other than writing your snap or sat exams like that. So if you're preparing for that, just prepare for it, but also try to maintain try to like revise all your undergraduation subjects if you have your work, and then also try to get a bit of information about the static GK, like a lot of information about organizations like UN and other like IMF, like International Monetary Fund, UN, and everything. And also try to understand, learn a lot about India, because a lot of questions might come from where you are from or based on India, and a lot of current affairs. But you have to have a basic idea about basic economics also, like GDP and stuff like that, and also static GK like UN and various groups and organizations like OPEC countries and stuff like that. So try to use that 1 to 2 months for preparing your undergraduation subjects, because many of you might have lost touch with those subjects. So try to use this time after CAT for understanding your undergraduation subjects, because many a times you will be asked about those subjects in your interviews. But it's perfectly all right if you do not uh, answer all the questions in your interviews also. But it's important that you understand the basics for your undergraduation subjects also. Like there will be basic questions and there will be advanced level questions. If you're not able to answer those advanced level questions, it will be completely fine. Just be honest and tell you don't know. But for the basic questions, it is highly advisable that you actually know those easy questions and you have the concepts of those subjects that you were taught. And for static GK, like I mentioned, just know about the common famous things in India or UN heritage sites or anything, if there is anything in your state or anything like that. So it's a personalized experience, your interview experience. So know your background well and know about what, how, and when. Anyway, how much ever you prepare for an interview, when you go for an interview, there will be unexpected questions. But that's okay if you're not able to answer all the questions or you fumble in 1 or 2 questions. But the most important thing is to have an honest outlook and a positive attitude. That will be the most thing that is valued in an interview. It's also a very unpredictable process, so don't take it hard on yourself. But like I mentioned, when you have that 1 or 2 months space, just prepare your undergraduate subjects and basic economics and current affairs also. Current affairs is very important. That once you cover all this basic economics and static GK, then every day just use 30 to 40 minutes in understanding the current affairs, like the daily news, international, national, and your state also. So like that. Just keep updating yourself. That's it. Then results are next step, like I mentioned. Get too hard even if your answers, even if your paper went bad or went too good, because like I mentioned, it depends upon the people who you were writing the exam with. If it was a tough exam, it chances are that even with a lower score, you'll be getting a good percentile. If it was an easy exam, you'll be even with a good score, you'll be getting a lesser percentile. So just trust the process and try to do your best. But keep a daily practice is the most important thing in CAT. Like you have to be consistent. You have to show up every day and practice your questions. That is what is most important in CAT. So guys, all the best for your preparations. Thank you.
So, Amal, it was quite a comprehensive one. You prepared a PPT more just like a teacher you did.
Hello.
I'm saying your PPT was more like a teacher. It was more looking like a class you were taking.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's good. It's a comprehensive one, and it covered each and every part of the preparation. So, Amal, in your case, let's say if someone is asking why MBA question, let's say why MBA question is being asked to you. You are an engineer, and basically you have an experience of, I think, 1 or 2 years or more than
Yeah,
that,
1 year.
1 year. So, what exactly? How did you answer the why MBA question?
So actually, after my graduation, I joined Larsen and Toubro as an project engineer. So I was more exposed to the project management environment, and it actually needed a management skills also. That is the reason why I chose to do an MBA later, because I was dealing with a lot of management aspects in my day-to-day activities. That is why I chose an MBA.
Okay, and what are your short and long term goals? Like, let's say 5 year down the line, 20 year down the line.
Yeah, so based on my previous experience, my short-term goal is to get into an operations role and keep on progressing in my role. Like previously, also, I had a bit of experience in it. So to understand more of these concepts and do well in that. And in my long-term goal, I just want to do better. And I have a small plan of starting a social entrepreneurship also.
What kind of a social entrepreneur? What kind of a is it like an education? What kind of field you would be choosing?
So actually, I was suffering from a disease called PCOS. So it's actually a women-centric disease, which most people find it difficult to like. There's very less access to education. There's less access to awareness and medicine and stuff like that for those kind of diseases because it is a lifestyle disease. So I wanted to find a solution for that and to help those people in all sections, all parts of the society. So that's what my long-term plan is.
And Amal, do you see a CAT much more inclined towards engineers?
Actually, there is like two sections, LR and QA, which might be, which engineers might find it a bit more easier than others. But the thing is that if you're really good at VRC, you will be getting a really high percentile other than those, compared to those who are good at QA because you will be able to attend all 24 questions in VRC if you're really good at VRC. But even though if you're good at QA, you might be able to attend only 12 to 13 questions. So there's a huge mark difference that will be created if you're attending more VRC questions rather than you're attending a QA questions. So it's not a very engineering centric, but it might give you a certain level of advantage because you have been dealing with maths for a long time if you're an engineer.
Okay. So Amal, it was great talking to you and very comprehensive slides. It was very well. Many of the people when we talk to, they don't put such an effort into the total session. So it was quite a learning session for everyone. Okay, and congrats and have a nice life. And it was a good experience talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All